My name is Charles Thomas. I am a retired journalist, and this is my first venture into matters partisan. As a journalist, I covered this city for about 25, 30 years, both as a network correspondent for ABC News back in the late 1980s, and after then, I went to Channel 7 in Chicago. I worked at Channel 7 in Chicago for 25 years. I spent the last 8 to 10 years of that as a political reporter, covering all things political, not only in the city of Chicago, but also in the region and the state of Illinois. Spent a lot of time in Springfield covering politics there, as well as City Hall, covering the Rahm Emanuel administration, as well as the Richard M. Daley administration. As a political reporter, I think the biggest story that I covered was the change in demographics in the city. How people began to leave the city of Chicago because of taxes, because of crime, because of prices. Basically, things began to become more expensive, and people began to leave the city of Chicago and reestablish themselves in the suburbs. I haven't seen an administration yet in the city that really made any efforts to reverse the demographic changes. In other words, to address the neighborhoods that are losing population. I haven't met the mayor yet who's tried to stop that. Mayor Emanuel closed schools. How do you close schools and expect people to stay or remain in those neighborhoods? Chicago must revamp how it is governed. It must return government to the people. And Amara Enyia is a person who has based her entire campaign around returning control of the city government to the people. Now, the people include the downtown business people. Of course, they're people. We can listen to them, but we also have to listen to the neighborhoods. We have to begin listening to the neighborhoods again. And one thing about Amara is that she is a listener. When I first met her about 5-6 years ago, when she was running for mayor in the 2015 election, I remembered my first interview with her, and I was one of the few reporters who gave her the time of day. I remember my first interview with her. I was impressed at how she listened to the questions because she answered them. A lot of politicians, you ask them a question and they immediately go to their talking points. Amara didn't do that. As mayor of the city of Chicago, she will listen. She will listen to all sections of this city. She will listen to the neighborhoods. She'll listen to the downtown business people too. But she'll listen, and that's the important thing, the thing that impresses me most about Amara. She is also the future of this city. People like Amara Enyia are the future of this city. She is a leader for the people who are going to have to dig us out of this mess. It isn't people my age who are going to solve these problems. The people who are going to have to solve these problems are the people upon whom people in my generation have saddled with the problems. And Amara is a leader for the next generation. And that's what's so inspirational about her. I mean, I have children of my own, or offspring, I should call them, of my own, who are now in their early 40s. I appreciate that generation. That generation has great leaders, and we have to begin listening to them because we are leaving them with, unfortunately, the mess we have created. We're also leaving them with a great city, but they are the leaders of the future. And we have to begin listening to them, and we have to begin sooner than later. The thing I love doing most is playing with my grandchildren. I have 7 of them now. And when I talk about the future, I have to think about them. I have to think about them and the leadership that this city is going to have front and forward in the next, in the future. I have to think about the future because I have 7 grandchildren. And I think about the world we are leaving them and who are the leaders going to be moving forward. Amara Enyia is one of those leaders. I was really impressed by the fact that no one challenged her petitions. And some people say, oh, that's because she had so many of them. Well, no. I think that all of those establishment politicians, those guys my age and slightly older, they realized that if they challenged her petitions, they are challenging the future of this city. My favorite thing about the people of Chicago, and don't get me wrong, I've thought about leaving Chicago in retirement because of the messes that have been created. But the thing I like most about Chicago and what I would miss the most, it sounds sappy, but it's the people. I love the people of Chicago. I love the people all over this city, everywhere. I even love Cub fans. Because I just love, I love the food. I love the things that excite people in Chicago. I love a good Southside Chicago accent. You know, I love that. It's all part of this city's character. I see people coming together behind a candidate like Amara Enyia. Why? Well, because I think she represents the new Chicago. The Chicago that's not racially polarized. The Chicago that cares about everybody in the city. The Chicago that really wants to focus on education. The Chicago that really wants to focus on fairness for the neighborhoods. She represents that. I think people, particularly in her generation, can see that. I think she represents a movement. This is a movement, and it's a movement that I want to be involved with because I know it's a movement that cannot lose. Amara's generation is going to inherit this city. Amara listens, and she will listen to my generation. I'm confident of that. One of the problems that we've had is the fact that much of our leadership does not listen. The big problem in this city has been, in its recent leadership, is that the leaders we have elected in recent years have not listened to the entire city. Amara Enyia will listen to all segments of the city. And that's why I believe she would be the best mayor. She'll listen to my generation. She'll listen to people of her own generation, and she'll listen to people younger. I haven't felt this strongly about a candidate in this city ever, and that's why, even as a journalist, I've taken the partisan route in this election, because I am a Chicago resident, I am a taxpayer, and I'm a retired journalist now. But I think I know something about how this city has been working and can be improved politically. And Amara Enyia is my candidate for mayor. She is a person to whom I would love to see be given this responsibility to lead this city, because again, she will listen.